Hi there, friends. Welcome to this beginner feel good flow. For this class, I would go ahead and grab a couple of blocks, a strap, and then maybe 2 blankets or anything, towels, anything that could provide a little bit of support under knees and things. I went ahead and grabbed 2. We will start down on our backs in a reconstructive pose. And before you come down on your back, just go ahead and grab one of your blocks or a blanket and bring it just along your side. You might need it here in a minute. So we'll come down gently onto our backs. Reconstructive pose, you'll have your feet almost mat distance apart, just whatever feels good for you, and then allow your knees to kind of just knock in and rest on one another, kind of like a little TP tent situation here with your knees. And then take a moment to kind of allow your shoulders to come down away from your ears. Once you find a comfortable spot, you can place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly and just close down your eyes. See if you can find a little bit of length there in the back of your neck. Start to take some deep breaths in and out through your nose if that would feel comfortable. And just allow a few moments here before we start moving to kind of reacquaint yourself with your breath. When we start class, it's nice to have this moment of eyes closed and that focus on the breath to really bring us into the present moment. So as we move through class today, anytime you need a little reminder to bring your mind back to this present moment and what we are doing, just come back to the breath. There are many different breath practices, pranayama. Really just that intention of focusing the awareness there is what's most important. That's what we'll focus on today. Just noticing the inhales and the exhales. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. You can release your hands, gently open your eyes. Hug both knees in towards your chest, give them a little squeeze, and then start to circle your knees around in one direction, rolling out there just all around kind of the edges of your sacrum. And then change directions, go the opposite way. Then go ahead and hug your right knee in towards your chest, and you can either keep this left leg bent up on the sole of your foot or extend it long, whatever feels better for you. Just kind of hug that knee in. You could even rock this leg side to side if that would feel good for your hip. Then if you don't already have the leg extended long, extend it now, and then let's come onto the outside of that left hip, and we'll roll the right knee over towards the left into a twist. This might be where you would want that blanket or that block. You could place that underneath your knee and give a little bit of support there. Reach your right arm up overhead and open it out to the right. You could either reach your arm out straight into a T, or you could take a cactus by bending at the elbow. Just take a gentle twist here as we start class. On your next inhale, bring that knee back up to center. You can give it one more squeeze. Grab that block or blanket, take it over to the opposite side, and then we'll switch. So you can either have a bent right leg or straight right leg as you hug that left knee in. Maybe take those little mini circles or side to side movements. And then we'll take that left knee over towards the right. Make sure you come onto the outside of that right hip. It might take a little bit of a shuffle, but we want to have stacked hips here for our twist. Place a prop under that knee if that would feel good, maybe even stacking props. Noticing a difference between sides, I sure do. I need my block a little higher on that side. Left arm goes up overhead, out to the side. You can choose the arm shape that feels best for you. And then just take a couple of deep breaths, coming back to that breath already here. Intentional breaths, intentional movement. On your next inhale, start to bring that left knee back up towards the center. Come back onto your back. You can scoot that prop off to the side. Place both soles of your feet down now. Have your feet about hips distance apart and parallel. And then I like to have my heels about a hand's distance from my hips here for a bridge pose, but you could play around with whatever feels best for your body. We'll take some gentle bridge rolls up and down. So before we start, really think about pressing into the heels, really into all of your feet, mostly into the heels to help you engage here through the glutes. We're going to be squeezing the glutes to help lift our pelvis off of the mat. So you can have hands down by your sides, have the palms facing down, allow a little bit of pressure there through the arms to help you lift. Press down through the heels, squeeze the pelvis. Now tuck the pelvis as you lift up off of the mat. Keep that low belly drawing in, keep the ribs pressing down. And then on your exhale, just roll it right back down. We'll do this a few more times. Inhaling it up, squeezing the glutes. Exhaling it down. Keep your neck long, gaze up at the ceiling. Inhaling it up. Exhaling it down. If it would feel good for you, you could also work to reach your arms up overhead on the inhales and then down on the exhales. Let's do maybe 2 more here. Last one. Feeling that backside start to wake up. Once you've released all the way back down onto your mat, you have 2 options to come up to a seated position. If it would feel better to just roll onto your right side and press up into a comfortable seat, go for that. If you'd like to try to rock and roll, you can place your hands behind your knees and then swing your legs and just rock up to a comfortable seated position. Either way that you have arrived here is all good. Take any comfortable seat. So cross-legged would be like a Sukhasana position. And then you can place a blanket underneath your sit bones here. Come about an inch or 2 forward where your sit bones are resting on there. Give a little bit of support here. This kind of helps get our hips higher. You know, when your knees are higher than your hips, this gives a little bit of support here through the hips. From here, we'll just inhale the arms up overhead. Allow the palms to touch. On your exhale, take the right hand down by your right side and then reach that left arm up overhead into a side bend. As you're reaching, think up towards like the opposite corner where the ceiling meets the wall. And then also think about this left sit bone grounding down into the blanket or the mat. So get a long side body there through the left side. Inhale that right arm back up overhead, palms touch. Take it over to the left side. Left hand down, right arm reaches up and over as that right sit bone grounds down. You could even gaze up under that right bicep if that would feel good for your neck. Let's inhale it back up. Exhale it over to the side. Inhale back to center and exhale it over. Let's inhale it back up. We'll take it over to the right side one more time. Left arm reaches up, and then this time let's turn and allow the chest to face down towards the floor. So we're kind of closing off through the chest here, and then you can reach that left arm in front of you, almost like we're sweeping the arms across the mat. Right arm follows, left hand comes down, and then we'll open up into that side bend on the opposite side. So we'll take this into like a sweeping motion. So chest can close off, reach that right arm in front, left arm follows and opens up, chest opens up. So just take these kind of on your own breath. You can make these as dramatic as would feel good for you. We'll just do one more here over towards the left. And then we'll rise all the way back up, palms meet. We'll take some cat-cows here in a seated position. So on an inhale, Bring the elbows down into like a cactus, like goalpost arms, and then allow the chest to come forward, shoulder blades to draw towards one another. You can gaze slightly up, and then on your exhale, draw the elbows in towards one another, hollow out through the belly and the chest. Tuck your chin. So on an inhale, chest is coming forward, elbows opening wide. On the exhale, elbows towards one another, rounding there through the chest. Do a few more of these on your own breath. Inhaling and exhaling, coming back to that intentional breath with our intentional movement. Let's do one more. Waking up our spine. Come back to a neutral spine. You can release the hands. You can move your blanket off to the side, and then we'll just roll over our knees here and we'll come into a downward facing dog. So from a tabletop position, just press into your hands, curl those toes, lift the hips, keep your knees bent. Allow your sit bones to reach up high and spread wide behind you. Crown of your head is reaching down towards the floor. Press down through your palms. Imagine almost like you have like lids of like jars that you're trying to kind of spin open with your hands without actually moving your hands. On your next exhale, start to bring your right knee towards your nose and then plant your right foot forward. If you need to place the right foot down and use your right hand to help you move that right foot forward, go for that. We'll come down onto that back left knee and we'll take a version of Anjaneyasana here, like a 90-90 lunge. So go ahead and place a blanket under that back knee if you need a little bit of support. And then we'll have our knees and hips in a 90-degree position here. You can have your blocks here if you need those underneath your hands. Once you find some stability here, if it would feel good, inhale the arms up overhead, palms face towards one another. Take an exhale. On your next inhale, open your chest, open your arms, just like we did in that cat pose in the seated position. So arms come down, goalpost, kind of opening through the chest here. Reach it back up. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale in and open. Last one. Inhale and open. And then from here, reach the arms back up overhead. Bring your right hand down to your right hip and then reach this left arm over like we did in that lateral bend seated, but then back just slightly. Should feel a nice stretch going up the whole front of your left hip. Take a couple breaths here. Squeeze through this left glute. One more breath. We'll inhale the arms up overhead, and then we'll actually release hands down towards those blocks. Bring this right knee back to meet the left, and then you can bring your left hand out to the side of your mat, and we'll open up into a modified side plank. So I'll actually turn on my mat here so you can see. In a modified side plank, you'll stay on that left knee, left hand comes out to the side, right leg reaches long, and then right arm can reach up overhead. We're working to stack the left and the right shoulders. You can stay here and hold, or if you'd like a little challenge, you can lift the right leg and maybe take some just little lifts up and down, squeezing through the glute medius here on the right leg. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that foot back down. Let's go ahead and rise up in the torso, and we'll take a version of what I call a gate pose puppy stretch mashup. So grab your blocks and you'll keep this right leg out to the side. We'll stay on the left knee, and you can just walk your hands out in front and imagine that your sit bones and your seat are reaching wide behind you and back. So we're really opening up here through the inner right thigh and then through our shoulders and our chest. And this can be as far forward as would feel good for you. If you'd like to come off of the blocks, you can place hands down on the mat and just release your chest down towards the mat. And then you can walk your hands on blocks or on the mat back up towards your torso. Bring that right knee back to meet the left. We're back in that kneeling position. Curl those toes, keep the knees bent, lift the hips back into your downward facing dog. If it would feel good, you can walk out one heel and then the other. Just keep those sit bones reaching up. On your next exhale, start to bring that left knee up towards the left wrist. Once again, if it would be better to step that left foot down and then use that left hand to help you move the foot forward, that's always an option. Come down onto that right knee. Have those blocks, framing that front leg. Find some stability there. Inhale the arms up overhead. Take an exhale. On your next inhale, let's open up into those cactus arms. Let's do that 3 times. 3, 2, 1. Arms back up overhead. Left hand to left hip. Take that right arm over towards the left side into a side bend, and then back just slightly, starting to feel that whole stretch up the psoas. Squeeze your right glute, press down through with that left foot to keep you steady. One more breath. Let's bring the arms back up to center. You can release the hands. Bring that left knee back to meet the right in a kneeling position. Right hand comes down to the side of the mat. Left leg reaches out to the side. We're opening up into that modified side plank. We're kind of perpendicular here with our mat, which is unusual, but it's good for our brains. It's a good challenge. If you'd like to lift that left leg, you can hold it, or option to take those little pulses. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that left leg back down. Bring your torso back up. Left toes point forward. We'll take that gate post puppy stretch mashup. So you can have your hands on the blocks, just reaching forward as your sit bones widen and reach behind you. Or always an option to have your hands down on the mat. Just release your chest down. Take a couple of breaths here. Just feel an opening through the shoulders, through the chest, through the hips. On your next inhale, carefully rise back up through the torso. You can walk the hands back towards the knees. Bring that left knee back to meet the right into a tabletop position. Curl those toes, lift those hips. We're back in that downward facing dog. You can walk the heels out again. Maybe starting to notice a little bit more opening here in the back of your legs. Your heels might be able to lower a little bit down closer towards the mat. On your next exhale, start to bring that right foot forward again. Always an option to step the foot down. Use the hand to help you. You can scoot your blanket out of the way, and then we'll cartwheel up into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So right toes point forward. Our right heel is parallel with the inner left arch of your foot. Right knee bends, knee is tracking over towards the toes. Arms reach out in opposite directions. You can gaze over that front middle finger. The stance does not need to be wide. Whatever feels best for your body. Take a couple of breaths here. On your next inhale, flip your front palm to face up towards the ceiling, and then reach the right arm up overhead as the left arm just gently slides down the back of the left leg. Keep this right hip scooping underneath. Press down through both feet. Feel a nice stretch up the right side of your body. Then on your exhale, cartwheel this right hand back forward. You can place your right forearm on your right thigh as you reach your left arm up overhead. And then imagine a long line going all the way from the outer edge of your left foot as you press it down into the mat, up the left side of the body, out through those fingertips. This is our side angle pose. So we'll flow through here that reverse warrior and side angle just a few times. So on your next inhale, reach that left arm back down that left leg as the right palm faces up. Right arm reaches up overhead into reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the right forearm back to the right thigh as that left arm reaches up overhead. Think about that chest revolving up towards the ceiling. Extended side angle. Let's inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle. Let's inhale back up into our warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Turn your right toes to face towards the side of your mat. So we have our feet parallel to the front and back of the mat. And we'll take a wide-legged forward fold here. So grab those blocks, place them in front of you. In our forward fold here, we're going to think about our pelvis as a bowl. To fold forward, our pelvis needs to be in an anterior tilt. So when our pelvis is neutral, it can go either posterior, tuck under, or anterior. So imagine that your pelvis is a bowl, and in that wide-legged forward fold, we're spilling that bowl forward into an anterior tilt. It's going to help us stretch as we fold forward. So hands to hips can kind of help. You can feel the pelvis, and then hinge at the hips. Feel that pelvis kind of start to spill forward as you fold. Sit bones reach behind you, and then you can release hands down to the blocks or the floor. And then if it would feel good, go ahead and release down through the upper back, through the neck, through the head. And just feel the crown of your head reaching down towards the floor. Feel those sit bones kind of reaching up and spreading wide. Take a couple of breaths here. In any of these poses, if it would feel good to take kind of little micro movements like bending one knee and then the other side to side, that could feel good, or allowing your torso to kind of flow side to side as well, releasing through that upper back. Take whatever feels good. Listen to your body. Let's take one more breath. To come back up, you can bring your hands to your hips or just press down into your blocks or the mat. And then on an inhale, slowly rise back up to stand. You can bring your blocks back up towards the front of your mat. And then we'll really just turn those right toes back forward, and then we'll cartwheel our hands all the way down to kind of frame that front foot. Can come onto that back knee, allow that right knee to go back to meet the left. Here we're either in a tabletop position and we can lift to downward facing dog, or if you might be interested in taking a modified vinyasa, you can do that here as well. So we'll be on knees and we'll take kind of like a modified push-up, a modified chaturanga. So allow your chest to come forward slightly, bend your elbows, keep those elbows hugging in towards your ribs, and then lower your chest all the way down. Press down into those palms, squeeze the glutes, lift the chest, shoulder blades draw towards one another on the spine. This is our cobra. Exhale the chest back down, press back up into that tabletop, curl the toes, lift those hips back into downward facing dog. You can always just skip those vinyasas if you're not interested. Always optional. On your next exhale, bring that left knee in towards the left hand. You can place the foot down, use that left hand, bring that left foot forward, and then we'll cartwheel up into Virabhadrasana 2 on the left side, Warrior 2. So left knee bent, shoulders down away from the ears. Check in with those shoulders and make sure they're stacked directly over your hips. This one's not a leaning forward pose. Our torso should be stacked here. Energy out through both fingers. We want to have energetic, strong arms. Keep this hip scooping underneath. On your next inhale, flip that front palm. Let's take a reverse warrior on the left. Your left arm reaches up overhead. And this right hand is really just not applying any pressure at all. It's just sliding down the back of that right leg. You can gaze up under that arm. On your exhale, cartwheel that left forearm to the thigh. Reach the right arm up overhead. Long line up the right side of the body. Side angle. And then here's where we get to flow a little bit. So let's inhale it back up to reverse warrior. Exhale, flow to your side angle. Think about opening your chest up towards the ceiling. Inhale it back up, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle. Let's inhale back up to our Warrior 2. And this time, instead of wide-legged forward fold, we'll take Goddess. You can straighten this front leg. You can go ahead and turn to face the side of your mat. I'll turn to face you all. And instead of having your toes pointing directly forward, allow them to point out a little bit. around 45 degrees. It'll probably be slightly different based on everyone's anatomy. And then we'll lower into our goddess. So for goddess, we'll bend the knees, lower the hips, try to keep those knees tracking towards the toes, and then allow your tailbone and everything to reach down towards the mat. This is opening up here through the inner thighs. We're strengthening everything. The glutes are squeezing. You can bring your arms out to the sides. You could even take a little chin mudra here with your index finger and thumb touching. You can stay here and hold and just allow everything to squeeze. If you'd like a little challenge, take some little mini pulses up and down. We'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can straighten your legs, stand all the way up, maybe give them a little bit of a shake. And then from here, we'll cartwheel back just like we did before. You can come down onto that back right knee. Can let the left knee come back to meet the right. Can either lift the hips to downward facing dog or take that modified vinyasa. So allow the elbows to bend. We're hugging those elbows in. Lower to the belly. Rise up on your inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower the chest. Lift back up through tabletop. Lift those hips to downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, keep those knees bent and you can start to walk and tiptoe the feet up towards the hands. Once you've come as far as you can, keep those feet hips distance apart. Keep the knees bent and we'll take a ragdoll. So you can either grab opposite elbows and then just allow the torso to drape over the thighs. Sorry, my sweatshirt's getting in the way of my microphone. And then just kind of let the head release. You can rock side to side. If that's not feeling good for arms, you could keep hands on blocks and then just see if you can allow that upper back, neck, head, all of that to just release. So in ragdoll, it feels good to really just kind of let everything rock side to side. Helps you open up through sides of the legs, up through the upper back. Take one more breath here. I never want to come out of this one. It always feels so good. Release the hands, and then we'll just roll up one vertebrae at a time. So just allow everything to kind of stack. And then your head will be the last thing to come. From here, we'll take a couple balancing poses. I'll turn to face you. The first thing we'll take tree pose on the right side. You can stand hips distance apart, really ground down through all the corners of that left foot. So you can either think of like your foot with 4 corners, 2 on the heel, and then 2 up on the sole of the foot, or 3, kind of the heel and 2 on the top. However many corners you feel in your feet, just ground down through all of them. Get steady. Shift the weight into that left foot. And then for tree pose, you can either keep toes on the mat and work to press the heel into the left leg, and allow that right knee to open up towards the right and externally rotate that hip. This would kind of be our step 1. Step 2 would be see if you can lift that foot off of the mat anywhere else along that left leg. Potentially avoiding the knee if you feel like that foot is putting pressure into the knee. So that might not be good. If you feel like it's just resting there and not applying pressure and that's the best spot for you, then go for that. So anywhere that would feel good for you. You could even use that right hand to kind of help guide the right sole of the foot into the left inner thigh, and then you're really here on the inner thigh pressing that foot into the leg into the foot. So you don't want that type of pressure if your foot is on your knee, but if it's up in the thigh, that's okay. And then we're really squeezing through the outer left hip to help stabilize and keep balance here. So wherever your foot has landed, stay there. This whole time I've been talking, you probably are already wobbling. Reach your arms up overhead into like a V. Grow your branches. Keep everything hugging in. And then you can carefully release that foot back down to the mat. Maybe shake out this left ankle a little bit. We'll take that on the opposite side. Ground down through that right foot, through all corners of the foot. Take the weight into that right leg. You can start to externally rotate this left hip, bring the knee out to the side, and then choose the foot placement that would feel best for your body. So you can really keep those toes on the mat to help you with your balance. You could maybe work to rise onto the calf. You can use that hand to help you Get the sole of the foot into the thigh, and then we're really externally rotating here, opening through that left hip, squeezing our glutes, squeezing both outer hips, hug everything in, reach the arms up overhead, find a point to focus on that's not moving, your drishti. Maybe feel a little wind here in your tree, and then you can carefully release that foot back down onto your mat. Maybe shake out through that right ankle if that would feel good. The next pose we'll take is Malasana Yogi Squat. This will be another hip opening posture. So bring your feet almost mat's distance apart, bring it wider than hips distance apart. Allow the toes to point out. This is the same as Goddess. I say about 45 degrees, but it'll vary depending on your anatomy. Toes will be pointing out. You can bring your hands to heart center and then start to bend your knees. Lower your seat down towards the mat. We're feeling like our tailbone is really descending down towards the mat. And then you can bring your upper arms to the inside of your thighs and kind of press the arms into the thighs, thighs into the arms. If this level is not working for you, feeling that deep is not great, you could always stack some props like blocks and allow your sit bones to rest on those and take more of a supported yogi squat. Another thing would be if your heels come up as you rise down, you can always roll your blanket and place those underneath your heels to give you, a little bit of support and something for your heels to press into. So find your version of yogi squat here. You could even kind of go side to side. Feel that opening through the hips. Feel the crown of your head reaching tall. Come back to that intentional breath. Those inhales, those exhales. We'll take one more breath. And then from here, we'll come down onto our seats. So if it would be more comfortable to rise up and come down a different way for you, choose that. If not, you could kind of rock back onto your seat from your yogi squat. And then we'll take a Janu Sirsasana. So you can grab that blanket again and use it to prop up your hips, placing it underneath your sit bones. And then go ahead and grab your strap. And if you have a second blanket or soft prop, you could have that rolled to the side. For Janu Sirsasana, we'll take the right knee and bend it. Open that right knee out towards the right, and then bring the right sole of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. This is kind of like that tree pose. The sole of the foot will be on the inside of the thigh. If having a straight leg here, we'll be folding forward. If having a straight leg here on the left leg is not comfortable, you can always roll your blanket and place that underneath the knee. Allow a little bit of a bend in the knee there. And then you can also have your strap here to help you reach towards the sole of your foot. So lots of prop options here. Before we fold, let's take a little check-in break here with our torso. We might want to turn the torso just slightly so it really aligns over that left leg. And then ground down through both sit bones, get a long spine. Can inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale, start to hinge at that hip and fold forward over that left leg. You can always grab that strap and hook it around the sole of the foot to kind of help pull forward. You're thinking of chest going forward, even past the toes. Kind of once you reach your edge there, it's okay to allow that upper back and neck to round and release as you fold. You should feel a stretch going up the back of your left leg. Feel a stretch even into the QLs muscles there in your low back. If that right knee is wanting to kind of come up or needs a little support, you could place a blanket or a prop underneath that knee as well. Take one more breath. On your inhale, I like to just tent my fingertips, just like we kind of did from that ragdoll, and just slowly realign your spine, allowing all those vertebrae to stack back upright. Head comes last. And then we'll take a Marijiasana. So just go ahead and bring that right knee Back up, we'll keep it bent, come onto the right sole of the foot, and then reach your right arm up overhead, twist towards the right fingertips can come down on a block or the mat behind you, and then hug that right knee into the chest with your left arm. Twist through the thoracic spine there, through the middle spine. If it's good for your neck, you can gaze back over that right shoulder, keep that left leg active. One more breath. On your next inhale, you can come all the way back to center and release that right leg. We'll take that on the other side. So bend the left knee, open it out to the left sole of the foot on the inside of the right thigh. Ground down through those sit bones, align the chest. Inhale the arms up overhead, long spine. Exhale, fold forward over that right leg. Use your strap. Any props under this left knee or right knee bent. And just breathe. Taking the time to set up the right props is so important. It gives us support, can help us feel into the posture in the right way for our bodies. Take one more breath. And then slowly you can press down through fingertips and walk back. Realign that spine. Bend that left knee up towards the ceiling. Come onto the sole of the foot. Inhale the left arm up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Fingertips can come down behind you. This right arm will hug the left knee in as you twist here through the middle spine, through kind of your heart space. Gaze back over that shoulder. Or if that's not comfortable, just keep a neutral neck. We really want the twist to come here through that thoracic spine, using those obliques. On your next inhale, you can gently come back to center. And then you can remove that blanket. We'll roll all the way back down onto our backs. So you can go carefully one vertebrae at a time. You can use your hands if you need to. Come down onto your back and then hug your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. And we'll take a happy baby, Ananda Balasana here. So keep those knees bent. We'll reach the feet up almost like you're standing on the ceiling. You'll want the soles of your feet to be parallel to the ceiling. Options here to grab either Yogi Toe Lock, which would be your peace fingers and your thumb, grabbing that big toe. You could grab the outer edges of your feet, or if you have that strap handy, you could use your strap around the soles of the feet. Sorry, my strap is in a big loop. Around the soles of your feet, and then kind of help pull those knees towards your armpits by using the strap. So however it feels good to grab onto those feet, we'll work to draw the knees towards the armpits, keep those feet kind of stamping on the ceiling, and then try to relax the neck, the head, the shoulders. Relax all of that down towards the mat while keeping the sacrum down on the mat. We don't want to be rolling anything off of the mat. Keep the sacrum down, the shoulders down. See if you can get a little length there through the back of your neck. Maybe tuck your chin just slightly. If it would feel good, you can rock side to side. This one always feels so great at the end of class. And then you can release the feet. You can just reach one foot at a time down towards opposite corners of the mat. Just allow your legs to kind of naturally splay open there. Relax through the feet. Lift up through your chest and tuck your shoulder blades underneath down on your back. Reach your arms out to the sides with palms facing up. Any tension here in the low back, you can always bend your knees and come back to that reconstructive pose like at the beginning of class. Another option would be to roll a blanket and place it underneath your bent knees for a little bit of support. Once you have found a comfortable resting pose here, close down your eyes. Come back to that breath. Just Just observing. The inhales, the exhales, the rise, the fall, the filling, the emptying. Anytime that we feel anxious or overwhelmed, we can always take just 1 minute out of our day and come back to an intentional breath. It really is our anchor. It's our anchor to the present moment. Check in with your feet, your ankles. See if you can let any tension or clenching or activity go. Up into your shins, your calf muscles. Allow those to feel heavy and sink towards the floor. Relax through your knees, your thigh bones, all of those big, strong muscles that support in that area. Allow tension to release in your hips, your pelvis to feel heavy. Your low belly softens. Your ribs relax through your sternum. Collarbones widen. Your shoulders can relax and feel heavy. Feel your upper arm bones against the floor. Feel the weight through your elbows and your forearms. In the palms of your hands, imagine that you're holding bags of sand. They're helping all of those joints and muscles release. Relax through your neck, through your jaw. Release your tongue from the top of your mouth. Relax any tension in your cheeks, your eyes, your forehead, all the way up through the crown of your head. When you're ready, start to bring your awareness back to those inhales and exhales. Maybe start to wiggle through the fingers and the toes. You can roll out through the wrists and the ankles. Take a good morning stretch. Reach those arms up overhead and the feet long. Reach in opposite directions. And then hug your knees into your chest. Give them one final squeeze. Roll over to your right side. You can use your right arm to cradle your head in the fetal position. Take a breath here. And then using your hands carefully press down into the floor. Keep your eyes closed and come into any comfortable seat. Let's bring your hands into heart center, into Anjali Mudra, with both palms pressing into one another equally. Let's come back to that intention with the breath by taking one final inhale and exhale together. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.